My precious child, I have something to say to you today, and I need you to listen with your whole heart. Not just your ears, not just your mind, but that deep, quiet place inside you where you go when the world becomes too loud and too heavy. That place you've been protecting for a long time now. That place where hope still flickers like a small flame in the wind. I am speaking directly into that place right now. I am reaching past everything on the surface, and I am touching the very core of who you are. Because what I have to say to you today is not casual. It is not a passing word. It is a declaration that will change the way you see yourself, the way you walk through your days, and the way you understand what has been happening in your life all this time. You have been on a long road, my child, and I know exactly how long it has felt. I know the mornings you woke up and had to convince yourself to get out of bed. I know the nights you lay in the darkness rehearsing every mistake you ever made, replaying every moment where things went wrong, wondering if you were ever going to find your way back to something that felt like peace. I know the smile you put on for other people while something inside you was quietly crumbling. I know the prayers you prayed that seemed to disappear into silence. I know the moments you almost stopped praying altogether because the waiting had stretched so far beyond what you thought you could bear. I know all of it. I have never looked away from you. Not once. Not even in your lowest moment. Not even when you could not feel me near. I was there. I am here. And today I am making myself known to you in a way that you will not be able to ignore. Let me tell you something about the silence you have experienced. When heaven seemed quiet, when your prayers seemed to echo in empty space, that silence was never abandonment. It was preparation. There are things I was building inside you during that quiet season that could not have been built any other way. Patience that runs deeper than surface calm. Compassion that was born from your own suffering. A faith that no longer depends on the right circumstances, but has learned to breathe even in hard air. You were being made into something, my child, not broken, made. And the process was never going to be easy because the purpose I have placed inside you is not a small thing. It required a deep foundation. And deep foundations take time, and they take pressure, and they take seasons that look from the outside like nothing is happening at all. But hear me now. That season is shifting. The quiet preparation is giving way to open movement. What was hidden is beginning to emerge. What was buried is beginning to rise. You may have already noticed small things. A conversation that brought unexpected comfort. A door opening in a place you had stopped watching. A peace settling over your heart in a moment when you expected anxiety. These are not coincidences. These are the first signs of a movement I have set in motion on your behalf. Pay attention to these small things. They are the beginning of something much larger. They are the morning light before the full sunrise. I want to speak to you about what you have been carrying. And I want you to really hear this because you have become so used to the weight that you have forgotten it is not supposed to be yours to carry. The shame from choices you made in a chapter of your life that is already closed. You are still carrying it as if it defines you. But my child, I closed that chapter. I am the one who holds the pen over your story, and that chapter does not define you. What defines you is the love I placed in you before the world ever had a chance to wound you. What defines you is the purpose I wrote into your very design before you drew your first breath. Shame is a liar. It tells you that your past is bigger than my grace. It tells you that the person you used to be is the person you will always be. But I say clearly and firmly today that the person standing before me now is not defined by what they survived. You are defined by the love that carried you through it, and the grief. Oh, my child, the grief you carry. Losses that changed the why. Shape of your life. People who are no longer with you. Dreams that did not unfold the way you imagined. Versions of yourself that you had to leave behind. Relationships that ended in ways you are still trying to understand. Grief is real, and I have never asked you to pretend that it isn't. I have never told you to perform happiness over real pain. But I am telling you today that grief was meant to move through you, not take up permanent residence in you. It was meant to visit you and teach you and then release you into something new. Somewhere along the way, grief became a home instead of a season, and I am calling you out of that home now, not to forget, not to dishonor what you lost, but to step into what is still ahead, because there is so much still ahead of you, so much that is good and real and filled with my fingerprints all over it. Now I need you to hear what I'm about to say with your whole heart. You are not too far gone. I know that the enemy has whispered that to you. I know that voice has said, you have missed your window, that your best days are behind you, that the damage done to your life is too extensive for real restoration. That voice is not mine. That voice has never been mine. I am the God who restores. I am the God who takes what looks like ruin and builds something new from its foundations. I have done it before, and I am doing it now in your situation. What looks like rubble to you looks like raw material to me. I see what I can build with what remains, and I am telling you that what I am building will be more than what was there before. Not in spite of your story, because of your story. The cracks in you are the very places where my light is going to shine through most brightly. Take a moment and breathe right now. Just breathe. Let my words settle into you. You do not have to figure everything out today. You do not have to solve every problem in the next hour. You do not have to have a plan for every question that is still unanswered. Right now, all I am asking you to do is receive. Receive these words. Receive this truth. Receive the love that is being poured over your life in this very moment. My love for you is not dependent on your performance. It is not conditional on your having everything together. You are loved right now in the middle of your mess, in the middle of your questions, in the middle of whatever incomplete and unresolved thing is sitting heavy in your chest. You are loved right now completely and without condition. Let me tell you what I see when I look at you, because I think you have been believing the report of people who do not see what I see. When I look at you, I see someone who has been tested and has not completely given up. That matters more than you know. I see someone who has been disappointed by life and yet still got up and kept walking. I see someone who has more capacity for love than they have been given credit for. I see someone carrying gifts that have been buried under survival, but that are still alive and waiting to emerge. I see someone who was built for more than the struggle they have been stuck in. I see potential so rich that it would take your breath away if you could see it the way I see it. You have been looking at yourself through the lens of your hardest seasons. I am asking you today to see yourself through mine. The relationships in your life are about to shift. Some of this will feel uncomfortable at first. There are connections in your life right now that were born out of seasons that no longer represent who you are becoming. As you grow into this new chapter, some of those connections will naturally fall away. Do not panic when this happens. Do not chase after what I am releasing, and do not hold on with clenched hands to what was designed to be temporary. I am creating space for relationships that will actually honor the person you are becoming. People who will speak truth to you and not just tell you what you want to hear. People who will walk beside you in the difficulty and not only show up for the celebration. People who will see your potential and call it out of you. These relationships are coming. Some are already close, just not yet fully revealed. Keep your heart open and your eyes clear. I also want to speak to you about the area of provision and need in your life. I know the financial pressures that have worn you down. I know the anxiety that comes with looking at numbers that do not add up, with wondering how the next season will be covered, with feeling the vulnerability of not having enough margin. I am not distant from this part of your life. I am not only the God of spiritual matters, while the practical realities of your daily survival are left for you to manage alone. I am present in the details of your provision. And I am telling you that what feels like a closing is actually a turning. The lack you have experienced has been a teacher. It has removed certain dependencies. It has redirected your trust from things that were never reliable sources toward the only source that is truly inexhaustible. And now I am going to demonstrate my provision in ways that will erase the anxiety from this area of your life. Not all at once, but step by step, in the way that teaches you to trust me for each moment. rather than trying to control every future outcome. You will look back on this season and understand why I took you through it the way I did. Pause here for a moment. Think about the one thing you have been most afraid to hope for. The thing you stopped allowing yourself to want because the disappointment of not having it became too much to carry. The dream you quietly buried. The healing you told yourself was probably not going to happen. The restoration you convinced yourself was too far gone. That thing. I want you to bring it back out. I want you to lay it before me again. Not because I am going to do exactly what you have been imagining, but because that desire was not an accident. The depth of your longing points to something real that I placed inside you, and I am not done with that story. Whatever it is, I want you to release the pretended acceptance of its absence and return to the honest cry of your heart. Tell me what you actually want. I can handle your honesty. In fact, I have been waiting for it. My child, there is a calling on your life that is specific and real, and the world needs what is inside you. Not a generic version of purpose, not a vague assignment. A specific, detailed, and unique contribution that only you can make in the way that you can make it. Your experiences, even the painful ones, have shaped a perspective that is irreplaceable. The combination of what you have been through, what you have learned, and the compassion it has built in you qualifies you to reach people that no one else can reach in quite the same way. There are people in your future who are going to need the exact story that you have been too ashamed to share, who are going to need to hear specifically about the valley you walked through and how you came out. Your story is not your burden. Your story is your assignment, and when you begin to tell it with freedom, without the weight of shame, something is going to break open in the atmosphere around you. I want you to stop minimizing yourself. I want you to stop apologizing for taking up space. I want you to stop dimming your light because you are worried about how it will be perceived. I did not create you to shrink. I did not design you to make yourself small so that others around you would feel comfortable. The gifts I placed in you were not meant to be hidden. They were meant to be offered freely and without hesitation to a world that desperately needs what you carry. Yes, there will be people who criticize. Yes, there will be misunderstanding. Yes, there will be moments when stepping forward feels exposing and uncomfortable. But the alternative, staying small, staying hidden, staying silent, costs far more than the discomfort of being seen. Step out, speak up, show up. I will cover you. Now let me address the relationship you have with yourself. Because everything else I have said will only go so deep if you are still at war with yourself internally. The self-criticism that runs constantly in the background of your mind. The comparisons you make between yourself and others that always leave you feeling like you are falling short. The inner voice that replays your failures more loudly than it celebrates your growth. This has to change, not because I am commanding you to feel good about yourself artificially, but because the way you speak to yourself is either building a foundation for what I am bringing or undermining it. I need you to become someone who speaks to yourself the way I speak to you, with patience, with belief, with the understanding that growth is a process and not a performance. Start noticing the voice inside your head. Start choosing which thoughts to agree with and which to dismiss. This is not positive thinking as a formula. This is taking your mind back from the enemy who has been using it against you. Let me also speak to the area of your body and your health. I know there are things in your physical experience that have caused worry, symptoms that have brought fear, limitations that have made you feel less than whole. I am the healer. I have always been the healer, not only of souls, but of bodies. And I am moving in this area of your life too. Whether the restoration comes suddenly or gradually through a process, I am at work. Take care of the body I gave you. Rest when rest is needed. Nourish yourself with the intentionality of someone who believes their body is worth caring for. But also receive my healing as a gift and not as something you have to earn by doing everything perfectly. I heal because I love, not because you have qualified yourself for my intervention. I want to talk to you now about forgiveness, because there are people in your story who caused real damage, whose choices had real consequences in your life that you are still living with today. I am not asking you to pretend that the damage was not real. I am not asking you to minimize what they did or to force a smile over a wound that was deep and genuine. But I am asking you to release the hold that unforgiveness has on your forward movement. Not for their sake, but for yours. When you hold onto offense, you remain tethered to the moment it was created. You remain emotionally tied to the person who hurt you in a way that gives them ongoing influence over your daily inner life. Forgiveness is the knife that cuts that rope. It does not excuse what was done. It does not remove consequences. It does not require reconciliation with someone who is still dangerous or toxic. It simply releases you from the prison of reliving the wound every time you think of them. I carried the weight of every wrong done to you on the cross. Let me carry it. You were not designed to carry it forever. As I move you forward into this new chapter, I want you to cultivate a daily practice of coming to me first. Before the noise of the day begins, before the phone and the demands and the list of things that need your attention come to me. Even 5 quiet minutes in the morning, where you acknowledge my presence, where you place your day in my hands, where you listen for my voice before everyone else gets a turn. This practice will change everything, not because it is a religious ritual that unlocks blessings mechanically, but because it orients your heart. It reminds you at the start of every day who you belong to, what you are living for, and whose voice carries the most authority in your life. Start there. Everything else will be clearer when you begin in that place. There is a peace that I want to give you that is unlike anything the world offers. The peace that the world offers is fragile. It depends on circumstances being right, on people behaving the way you need them to, on the future being predictable and the past being settled. That kind of peace is always one bad news phone call away from being destroyed. The peace I give you does not depend on any of those things. It lives deeper than your circumstances. It is rooted in the unchanging reality of who I am and how I feel about you. And it holds steady even when the surface of your life is turbulent. This is the peace I am giving you right now, not as a future reward for when things get better, but as a present reality that you can access in this very moment. Breathe it in. Let it settle. It is yours. My child, I see the future that is in front of you, and it is genuinely good. Not perfect in the way that means an absence of all difficulty, but rich and meaningful and filled with moments that will make you grateful for every hard season that shaped you into the person who can receive it. There are conversations ahead that will change the trajectory of your life. There are encounters with people who will see you clearly and love you well. There are experiences ahead that will reawaken wonder and joy in you in ways you have not felt in a long time. There is laughter coming, real laughter that rises from a place of genuine lightness. There is rest coming, not the collapse of exhaustion, but the restoration of a spirit that has been renewed. There is purpose coming that will make the mornings feel different. That will give you a reason to get up that is bigger than obligation. All of this is ahead of you, and it is closer than it looks. Let me speak to you one more time about trust, because ultimately everything I am saying to you today comes down to this one thing. Will you trust me? Not a blind and passive trust that sits back and waits for things to fall from the sky, but an active, engaged, courageous trust that says, I am going to take the next step, even though I cannot see all the way to the end. A trust that hears my voice saying go and actually goes. A trust that recognizes my peace as the signal to move and my unease as the signal to pause. A trust that has stopped trying to control every outcome and has learned instead to hold the hand that holds everything. That kind of trust is not weakness. It is the most powerful posture you can live from. Because when you trust me fully, you become free from the anxiety of having to figure everything out yourself. And from that free place, you can actually hear me clearly enough to walk exactly where I am leading you. You are stepping into a new chapter, my beloved. And I need you to step into it with your head up and your heart open. Not holding back, not half committed, not with one foot in what was and one foot in what could be. I need all of you in this new season, all your hope, all your hunger, all your desire for something real and lasting and good. I will meet all of you with all of me. That is my covenant with you. That is my promise to you today. Not a promise based on you being perfect. A promise based on my faithfulness, which has never wavered and never will. Go forward from this moment differently. Let these words be a marker in your story, the place where you heard me clearly and chose to believe, the place where the shifting began, the place where you stopped surviving and started truly living. This is that moment, right now. This is it. Tell me you receive this. Tell me you believe it. And then take the next step, just the next one. I will be there when you take it. Closing prayer. Father, I come to you with a heart that is tired but willing, a spirit that has been through seasons of wondering and waiting. I stand before you now not with a list of perfect credentials, but with an open hand and an honest heart. You know every part of my story, every room in my life that I have tried to hide from you, and every corner where I have tried to manage things on my own. I am done managing on my own. I lay it all down before you today. The fear, the grief, the confusion, the hope I have been afraid to fully feel, and the future I have been afraid to fully trust. I lay all of it in your hands. I choose today to believe what you say about me over what I have told myself in my lowest moments. I choose to walk forward in the direction you are pointing, even when I cannot see everything ahead. I ask for your peace to cover my mind, for your strength to show up where I am weak, for your love to reach the places in me that are still healing, and for your voice to be the loudest one I hear today and every day that follows. Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for the road ahead. I step into it with you now. Amen. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today.